Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so today I wanted to drop this video. I might have a film session coming out today. Got a couple recorded already. But anyway, I wanted to talk about possible receiver scenarios for the Giants coming up. This involves some free agents. This involves 2 draft picks, 2 free agents, 2 draft picks. Pretty simple stuff here. But I got 4 guys, as I just said, 2 and 2, that I think could help the Giants next year. And I talk about the pros and cons of both of them. I want to talk about the pros and cons of both, and we'll see how it goes. So starting this off, my number one guy that I think fits the Giants the best, if in a perfect world, and that has a small chance of getting here, the number one guy that I would want here is Brandon Aiyuk, because I think he fits the Giants in every aspect. I did a video with Fireside Giants. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's a film session of Brandon Aiyuk, and pretty much what we're talking about is how he can help the Giants, what he does well, what he will bring to the Giants. And I think literally this guy is every single thing that the Giants need. Every single thing in the number one wide receiver that we need, that's what he is. He came out of the draft as a guy who was a gadget guy, as a guy who, you're running jet sweeps to, you're running swing passes to, you're throwing screens to, you just want to get him the ball so he can make plays after the catch. But he's become a very, very, very polished route runner. Different releases at the line of scrimmage, advanced releases at the lines of scrimmage, advanced route running, crazy nuanced routes. Brandon Aiyuk has taken the next step to being an elite receiver in this league, in my opinion. The stats have him at 1,000 yards, but he's competing with Deebo Samuel, competing with a team that loves to run the football. And if you look at his stats, every single year his stats get better and better and better. I think last year he had 800. This year he finally hit 1,000 yards. And this is a long shot. I'm going to be honest with you. This is a long shot for Brandon Aiyuk because, yes, I highly doubt that the 49ers will pay him and Deebo, pay both guys $25+ million. I highly doubt that. But Brandon Aiyuk has got another year of his rookie deal left, and he's got his 5th-year option coming up. So they could squeeze this out for another year and then be looking to trade him next year while he's in the last year of that deal. Or they could just let him go and think that, he could provide that level of production for the next 2 years, and then you just let him walk. So they have a lot of options. So the Giants will have to be really aggressive in going after Brandon Aiyuk. So again, he's a guy that would get open, a guy that could also go over the top and make some plays, a guy that you can throw the ball short to, and he'll take the ball 50 yards and score. We don't have anybody like that on our team besides Saquon, and I'm not even sure Saquon is that same level of player that's going to catch the ball short and really, take it the complete distance and break tackle after tackle. So that's the first guy. That's the number one guy that I think would help this team, bar none. The next guy, T. Higgins. T. Higgins is a guy that I've been talking about on Twitter today, and people spin their narratives to try to make me a Daniel Jones hater on Twitter every day anytime I mention him. But my biggest issue with T. Higgins is that he plays with Joe Burrow. The Jamar Chase thing is a non-factor because T. Higgins looked really good without Jamar Chase, before Jamar Chase was there. But he plays with Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is literally a gunslinger of the highest order. This guy throws the ball up. If you all saw this past week's playoff game, Joe Burrow literally threw the ball up 40 yards downfield to Jamar Chase in double coverage, and this guy came up and made the play for him. But to have that level of trust in a receiver is difficult. And I just am not sure. I have not seen Daniel Jones throw that ball up like that. Yes, the Kenny Golladay thing went haywire. Yes, Kenny Golladay ended up not being the guy that we expected him to be. But also, you're in a game. Kenny Galladay's one-on-one downfield. I did not see Daniel Jones throw that to him consistently in a jump ball situation. Also, when he did throw jump balls to him and to Kyle Rudolph, the ball was always like 10, I'm not going to say 10 feet in the air because that would be catchable. But the ball is always way too high and the ball is too flat And it just doesn't, I'm not sure if he has the touch to throw these jump balls. Now, as far as fitting it in a tight window, even deep downfield, I believe Daniel Jones can do that. But I know he has the touch, but I'm not sure if he's comfortable throwing those jump balls consistently. And I think that's a huge part of T. Higgins' game. I mean, he's going to have one catch. In the big games that he has, he's going to have probably 2 or 3 catches where it's a back shoulder throw. It's a throw where he's having to elevate over 2 people. And it's just a certain level of trust and a certain level of just, I'm just going to fling it, that I'm not sure that Daniel Jones has. And this isn't me saying that he cannot make all of the throws in the book, because he can, but it's just, I haven't seen him do it. So it makes me wary to bring that kind of guy in. Nonetheless, T. Higgins is a baller. He can run routes, but he's not an elite route runner. And again, he's a guy that can go over the top of people and make big plays that way. So I believe that he could definitely help us. I believe that he would definitely be our best receiver by far. I mean, that's obvious. But I think the best fit, as I said before, is Brandon Aiyuk, or a guy that can run routes at a very high level. And that brings me to my next 2 guys who I think fit that build. You got Jordan Addison in this draft this year out of USC. Used to be at, why am I forgetting where he used to be at? But either way, he's out of USC. And Jordan Addison is a guy that can run those deep crossers. He's a guy that can run all of those Stephon Diggs kind of routes. All of those things, any way that you use Stephon Diggs, you can use Jordan Addison the same way. He's just a little bit lighter. He doesn't have the same, I don't know how much Stephon Diggs weighs, but I think Jordan Addison's about 180, maybe 179. Who knows? But he's just not the same. He's just going to be a guy that's a little bit smaller. He's going to be able to put on weight, though. He does have the height. I think he's 6'1". But again, everything that you can do with Stephon Diggs, not to say that he will be Stephon Diggs or at the level of him, but everything scheme-wise that you would do with Stephon Diggs, you would do with Jordan Addison. It's a picture perfect fit. I have him as wide receiver 1 or 2 on my board every time I look at this, and I think he's a guy that's realistically in play at 25. He's got a couple of nice release packages. He's got some nice open field route running moves. He's able to kind of make plays after the catch. He's the complete package, in my opinion. I think he's kind of getting underrated. I think he's a better receiver than Quentin Johnston, but Quentin Johnston is the guy that's 6'4", 210, and people just always going to love that. But Jordan Addison is a guy that I think could help this team tremendously as a rookie. I'm not sure if he could be your dominant number 1. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I do think that he could help us a lot and definitely upgrade our offense. And when I say number 1, I mean a guy that can get doubled and bracketed and still make plays. So can he do that? I'm not sure about that yet. You guys will see a film session come out pretty soon on that. But for now, I think he could definitely help this team, and it would be worth that 25th overall pick. Next up, and finally, Jaxon Smith-Njigba. He's a guy that is also a really good route runner, but in a different way. Jordan Addison is the guy that's the Stephon Diggs, whoop, 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 a bunch of juke type move route running. But Jaxon Smith-Njigba is the guy that's going to run routes technically, that's going to, turn his shoulder at the right time, that's going to put his foot in the ground and switch directions at the right time. He's also not the fastest guy. Probably is going to run like a 4.58, 4.57, something like that. But he gets open all day, gets open. Decent after the catch too. But the only thing is he's a slot receiver. So you got Wan'Dale Robinson here. Do you think Wan'Dale can play outside? If not, do you move Jaxon Smith-Njigba outside? And what does that do to his production? Is he the same player outside that he is inside? And you got to think of Keenan Allen, who's a slot receiver and is a dominant slot receiver, a guy that's 6'2", and just gets open all day. I think that's what Jaxon Smith-Njigba could do. And I think if the player can help that much on your offense, you just figure it out. You make him fit with the rest of the players on your team, and you just figure it out, which I think our staff is capable of doing, especially if Kafka stays. But Dable is definitely capable of doing it. But Jaxon Smith-Njigba, he's got the pedigree. He did it at a big school, did it at the highest level. Again, the route running is what I'm looking for this year. I'm looking for a guy that gets open, a guy that consistently is a guy that's going to create terror for the defense because he's consistently routing people up, consistently open, consistently converting first downs, sometimes making big plays. And when you look at what Isaiah Hodgins did for us, finding those spaces in the zones, having him and Jaxon Smith-Njigba will be really good. But again, is Jaxon Smith-Njigba a guy that you're going to put on a deep crosshair? Maybe, but he's not a speedster. So that's something to consider. So those are 4 names that I have right now. Early, it's definitely early. I have a sleeper name that I'll drop a video on, and I have a sleeper that I think could be a number 1 receiver and probably fits us perfectly. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. That'll be coming in the next couple of weeks. But for now, these are my 4 receiving options for the Giants this offseason that I think could help us immediately and bring our offense to the next level when Daniel Jones comes back out, probably for a franchise tag or for a 3-year deal. Who knows? I'm not going to go over and over and talk over and over about what Daniel Jones' deal will look like. But these are 4 receiving options that I think could help the Giants immediately. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.